After I've checked the Google form for last night, I had several of you ask if I could take a look at number 7 with you, so we sure can. Now, as a reminder, your number 7 may have had different numbers here than what I'm looking at because MathXL does change values, but the concept is going to be the same. And so in thinking of that, it does say you can follow along with what I've done and then should be able to apply it to your problem. And the instructions said, let me just make sure here. To solve by completing the square. So that's what we're going to do. So if we want to complete the square, we know that means we need to write it as a perfect square trinomial, a PST. So I'm going to take the terms involved in the PST, and I want my leading coefficient to be a 1, so I'm going to factor 3 out, which does create a fraction here for us. Again, 3 times 1/3 is 1, so I have done that correctly. From here, let's go ahead and put plus a blank in order to make my PST, and I'm going to on the same side subtract a blank. And don't forget that that blank is being multiplied by 3. This is where I like to work backwards. So I think about what number do I add to itself to give me 1/3 in the middle. Okay, so I know both of these need to be plus, and I'm thinking about x times x is x squared. X times something and then x times something, I add those together, I have to get 1/3. And so what number do I add to itself to give me 1/3? Well, would that not be half of 1/3? So if I take x times x, I get x squared. 1/6x plus 1/6x is 2/6x, which is 1/3. And now as I'm working backwards, 1/6 times 1/6 is 1/36. I do need to balance, and so, excuse me, I'm taking 1/36 and multiplying it by 3. And I'm going to go ahead and reduce that because I know that's 1/12. In order to combine these, I'm going to go ahead and get a common denominator, so that's going to be negative 6/12 minus 1/12. I now have this in vertex form. That's a 0. So from here, I'm just going to solve. And so I'm going to get x by itself. The first thing that means I'm going to do is add 7/12. I'm now going to divide by 3 or multiply by 1/3, however you want to approach that. So that's going to be 7/36. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. And so square root of 7, I can't do anything with that. Square root of 36 is 6. And on the left-hand side, I know that positive numbers come out, or positive values come out of square roots, and so I need absolute value. And here's where my two solutions come from. They come from the piecewise. So my first equation will use x plus 6, and that's going to be if x is greater than or equal to negative 1/6. As a reminder, negative 1/6 is your axis of symmetry. I take the opposite of that statement, and that's going to be if x is less than negative 1/6. So x plus 1/6 equals root 7/6. So x will equal negative 1/6 plus root 7/6. My other equation, I'll use the, oops, sorry, you guys can't see what I was doing. I'm going to use the opposite of x plus 1/6, and that's going to be equal to root 7/6 as well. Now, I actually can kind of skip a couple steps here. If I know that the solutions are conjugates of each other, I know if I have negative 1/6 plus root 7/6, my other solution would be negative 1/6 minus root 7/6. Sometimes we can see that written as a single fraction, by the way. So you could say negative 1 plus or minus root 7 all over 6 is one way you could write it. I noticed a couple of you wrote your solutions as ordered pairs, and it didn't ask you to there, so it was just asking you to solve. So there was no reason to write them as ordered pairs. So just make sure you read the instructions.